Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM. Brought to you proudly by Sportsman's Warehouse, Counts Marine, the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, and Avery Superstore.
Hey, welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray, and we kind of switched things around a little bit. We talked about Todd Castledine, but we're going to move Todd down a little later in the show, hopefully. But we're going to come right in, not follow right after him, right after Brian Thrift with another Brian. Got two Brians back to back.
Out of Carolina, too.
Yes, Brian.
South Carolina.
Brian Latimer is on with us now out of Belton, South Carolina. And good morning, Brian.
Hey, how are you guys this morning?
We're always good when we can talk fishing. I know that's Ron Wong because, that's just the way he is. Well. But appreciate you being a part of this annual show that we do on the Forest Wood Cup. And Joel Pogger, FLW Director of Communications, is with us throughout the show. And I know, Joe, as you listen to these guys, it's obvious that communication is a major part of this, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, they're going to be out competing for $300,000 next week, but quite a few of them are doing interviews just like B-Lat here right now.
Yeah, well,
B-Lat does well, too.
He does that well. And, Brian, I know
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, as you look at this and coming out of Belton, South Carolina, this is this your first Cup appearance?
Yeah, this is my first Cup since I've been fishing the tour so far.
So talk about that. I mean, we've been talking to Larry Nixon, who I think was born in the Cup.
Yeah.
And other guys and these things. So talk about from your stance. I think Larry called all you guys whippersnappers. I think he was. That's what he said.
Sounds about right. Sounds like something there.
So talk about being a first timer in this wonderful event.
You know, it's probably sounds a little cliche. It probably hasn't really hit me the magnitude of what I'm getting into until I walk across stage or during blast off. I think is when it'll finally hit me. One thing about any of these tournaments, you almost forget how big they are until blast off or until the weigh-in. It feels no different when you're practicing than fishing the $50 club tournament at home. It's nobody's really out on the lake, and it's really just another day of fishing when you're practicing and so forth. And then you come across the stage and there's like people watching you and so forth. So then it's like, oh wow, this is kind of a big deal. So I imagine that'll be magnified times 10 at the Cup. Obviously weighing inside the Coliseum and just the lights and all the exaggeration of like a championship tournament like this. I can imagine I'll probably get a little antsy after.
Brian, you've done really well over your career since you've gotten into FLW and fished the tour there. Lake Hamilton, have you had an opportunity to look at it or be on it yet?
I have not. I have not been on it. I have done a little bit of YouTube research, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
I hadn't really done a whole bunch of research about it. I just kind of glanced over it and read a few articles, and from what I can tell, it probably won't be much of a surprise of things that I'll see there. It sounds like a much like some of the lakes around here.
Right.
We're going in August. There's really only 2 or 3 things that you're going to do to catch fish there.
When you talk about those 2 or 3 things, Brian,
what are
Z-Man, you're a big Z-Man guy. The big TRD or even the little TRD. What are some of the things that you think may work for you?
It's without going into a whole bunch of detail, it's either going to be shallow. It's probably either going to be on the bank, or it's going to be out deeper, probably 20 to 25 foot deep. Maybe not quite that deep. I'm not sure if they get quite that deep out there. But long story short, it's going to be either offshore or on the bank as shallow as you can go. And I don't think there's really a whole bunch of secrets or anything that I haven't seen before that I'll come across. You're talking about August. There's only a few ways to catch them. It's not like it's going to be, are they spawning or are they not?
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Have they came or have they not came?
Right.
They're either going to be schooling on bait fish or they're going to be on the bank chasing brim. It's really pretty much that simple.
Yeah. Ryan, you have obviously through your research have learned about Lake Hamilton, the boat traffic, because it's in the city there and so many condos, apartments, houses around the lake. Does that bother you, or are you mentally prepared for that?
Bring it.
Bring it.
Bring it. Bring it.
All right.
Yeah.
There's my man.
Our perception on boat traffic is so bad, so twisted that, especially fishing offshore, that boat traffic helps. It helps tremendously. So yeah, bring it. Bring the jet skis, bring the ski boats, bring the loud music, bring it on.
I like
and
it.
they will have it too. They sure will. Hey, Brian, we've asked all of our guests on this show here, and they're all fishing the Forest Wood Cup just like you are. What do you think it's going to take to win this tournament?
13 a day, 14 a day.
That's good. There you go. Yeah, there they go. Yeah, that's about what
you're right on it.
Is that what everybody's saying?
Yeah. That's what everybody's
13 or 14
saying.
A day. That's really hard to do. That sounds easy, folks. That's not. I think getting into the double digits is going to be a big deal. Like I said, I'm expecting it to be much like fishing around here at home with some of the lakes we have that are smaller. It's 7,500 acres. That's why I didn't really put in didn't really stress it a whole bunch. I didn't want to get burnt out. We've got 4 days of practice. If you do too much study, you expect too much, and then you get there, and after 4 days, you're like, everything I wrote down, none of that's working. So 7,500 acres, I mean, I got 4 days. I'm either going to catch them or I'm not. You're going to find something or you're not going to find anything.
Well, won't you just bring that 12-foot John boat that you fished out of when you were in the 10th grade, and use that, and when you upgrade it to a 7.5 floss Mercury, is this a dream? Is this when you look back on that time in high school and things along that line, Brian, and realize that you're at the Cup, you're at the Super Bowl of FLW? There's a mental game to this. So what's going through your mind right now, a week before this event?
Man, it's kind of like when I started the conversation off. I thought I would have done a lot more. I've been a lot more, jittery going into it. Like, oh my God, I'm making the Cup. I got to do this, got to do that. Man, I have been pretty doggone laid back to the point where it's a little scary. Like, I just started my prepping my boat.
That's what everybody's doing.
I got up early this morning.
Yeah, everybody's prepping their boat now. Don't worry about it, Brian. There's only 52 of them. People, the best anglers in the world there. Don't worry about it. So
it's only 50 of us. 52. That makes it a lot easier. I just started prepping this morning. I like to think of this deal a little bit like a wedding.
Like a wedding? Okay, explain that to us.
You can prep all you want. You can do all the prepping you want, but there's nothing you really can do until you get there on the water.
That's right.
It's like on your wedding day, you do all this, especially for the groom. There's really not much you can do until the day of the wedding.
Can we talk to your wife real quickly on the phone? Can you put her on?
Yeah. You would concur to that. The women do all the prepping, but for us, it's like, there's just really not a lot to do.
You just want to make sure you got your shoes, your shirt, and your coat ready to go, and that's it. You're ready, right?
That's really all I can do. Like, you
that's
can
right.
make it, oh, it's the Cup, it's always this. I got to have this ready, got to have that ready. But at the end of the day, all I can do is the same thing I've been doing all year long.
Are you bringing?
At the end of the day, that's really all there is to do.
Are you bringing your guitar? Are you bringing your guitar with you?
No.
Now
we're going to focus on fishing.
Somebody says you can play the guitar. I read that someplace.
I played the bass guitar for 17 years at my church.
Did you really?
Wow, how cool.
Yeah.
How cool
obviously,
is it?
When I started traveling, I had to let it go. I'm just never there on weekends.
Well, Joe, talk about Brian. Here's a young man, first tournament experience and things along that line. From your standpoint, talk about the youth of some of these guys we've talked about. What does Brian mean to the sport?
Well, Brian's win earlier this season was one of the most emotional, heart-tugging moments in FLW history. That's one that is going to get replayed for a long, long time.
Right. Yeah.
And Brian's an angler we're really proud of because he's kind of done it the right way. And, he started out, fishing local events and kind of worked his way up to the BFL events and had some success there. And he's, made his way up to the tour through the FLW system, which is, what we promote and what we, that's why we do what we do, is for anglers like Brian Latimer. So to see him, blossom over the last 2 years and, really take his social media game to the next level and just see, his it factor skyrocket. Has been really fun to see, and he's definitely a great ambassador for the sport and FLW, and someone that we hope to be working with for a very long time.
Well, that was an emotional win. I talked to Ron Wong about that, Brian. That's a goosebump thing, fella. I mean,
I hate even watching replays. I can't hardly watch the replay without crying.
Without crying.
I have to tell you, I have to echo Joe's remarks about Brian. Having spent a little bit of time with Brian in a media conference and just talking, Brian wants to do it well, and he wants to do it the right way.
Yeah.
And he really is, and he's so good about trying to build the sport of bass fishing and grow the fishing industry. And my hat's off to you, Brian, for all you've done, and you certainly have my support in whatever you do.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Brian, taking time on this Saturday morning before the event. I don't believe in luck. Just go over there and keep those jitterbugs out of you, okay?
And I'll see you over there, buddy.
Yeah, Ron Wong will be there. You can't miss him. He's the only Wong. It'll look like 8 of them there, but it'll just be him. Thank you, Brian. Okay, buddy.
That sounds good, man. I appreciate it.
Have a great one. All right, Joe, hang on. We're going to come right back. We're going to see if we can hook up with Brad Knight. That's next on Outdoors with Larry Ray on this special edition of the FLW Cup on this Saturday, August the 3rd.